Ugh. Let's talk data. Okay. So data science is going to... Just joking. All right. So I think I just wanted to kind of put a video or some verbiage to something I released previously on valuebyera.com, blog.valuebyera.com. So essentially it was going through my experience of being able to not only join a data science team, but actually create the interview process and actually facilitate it. And I actually got to review, I'd say confidently around 100 plus interviews for people that were trying to be intro data scientists to our team. So it'll be a multi-part series, but I kind of just want to speak on my experience. I recently left the job that I've made that interview for. So I was in the job market and boy, all over the place. I cannot say I saw a single interview that made me feel confident as a data scientist. And I think in hindsight, after I got my offer and I joined my new company, I kind of look back on it and realize that it's really hard preparing for interviews when all of them can be completely different. So some companies seem to think data scientists are computer scientists and that we know algorithms like the back of our head. I can't remember the last time I used an algorithm to actually use my pre-processing or training. In the moment that I need it, I got Google, or I got my algorithm book. I know exactly when I would need it, and I haven't. Or for other ones, for example, I was being put under a clock to code, which I think at first I was new to computer science, so I really wanted to fit in and kind of just be a very good, quick programmer. But also, I've never actually missed a deadline for work. Never missed a deadline for work. But you wanted me to code within a 30-minute period, something that was either on my topic or not on my topic. Also, it just seemed a little odd to me, and I think it's fine because at the end of the day, everyone needs to get evaluated for the job. But I had a few favorites. I got to try to facilitate one and create one, and that was dumpster fire. But I think the ones that I had considerations for and ones that I thought could have been improved were mainly just questioning if they knew what the actual day-to-day of a data scientist was, and if the project or the job interview was actually what I would be doing in the day-to-day, or are you just assuming I took computer science as an undergrad, which I didn't. I was in electrical engineering undergrad, and then I got into data science. The ones I liked the most basically were project-based. They would give me a case study, some type of data that was internal or not internal, tell me what the problem was, tell me what they wanted me to look into, and essentially ask me to make a model for it. And then I think over a week or maybe a weekend's period of time, I had to come back to them, submit results, determine if I was going on to the next round, and after that, I'd be able to talk more to other engineers and things like that about what I did. So those are my favorite case studies, projects, because those are the most related to how my job is. I've never been given a task for my job, even when I was doing consulting work, and immediately was told you have to do data science within a day or two and completely give us a new model. Analysis, yes, I've had to do that very quickly for business people and things like that. My favorite ones were the ones where it seemed to be more realistic to what my job would be. I'm not saying anything bad about the items that I was questioning. You should be prepared for it. You need to learn how to play the game. But as someone who's also playing the game, I think I'm just questioning some of the rules or the reasoning behind some things. So anyway, I got to make an interview. Basically just took a little bit of initiative, asked my boss, and he was like, yeah, sure, go for it. So essentially what I wanted to do was a case study, but I was in consulting work, couldn't share data, a lot of government work, a lot of Loctite shit. So basically what happened, I grabbed some data sets from Kaggle. I didn't want to make people feel we were asking the world of them. So I essentially wanted to give each candidate the ability to show their imagination. And with that, I just want them to give me analysis and verbally tell me how they would use a model or answer a customer's problem that is in this field. As much as I wanted it to be great, it seemed to be too simplistic. It opened a bit of a can of worms. People kind of gravitated to one type of data set. They're using the same stuff, and that's not the end of the world, but I saw a lot of the same stuff, which wasn't their fault. It was mine. Completely my fault. I think I understand now the complexity of creating job interviews. They are extremely hard because you want them to be difficult enough that you can allow people who are very bright to separate themselves from the pack, but you also don't want to spend all of your days just making up interviews, because at the end of the day, if you have a really good interview process, it's gonna get out on the web sometime soon. So you have to always be coming up with something new. So I understand the coding stuff. I understand the coding under a clock thing. Like, I totally get it. And for us, from our interview process, we did get down to a few people. We hired someone, didn't end up working out, but I could easily say that after the process that I went through of making it, I now know why some processes are in place and why there's such rigor, and why I think I was on the right track with the case study or the open-ended question, but I should have made candidates actually present a model and go even deeper into things and made it a more in-depth process. So life's a journey, value by error, hence the name. So, but from that, I think I would just give people probably 3 to 4 words of advice from me facilitating an interview, picking candidates, reviewing resumes and things like that. My first big piece of advice for any data scientist trying to get into data science: you must make a project, self-project. You have to just figure it out. I'm gonna make more videos on this of how to do it. I can show you. I think the past 2 interviews, I've used the same project that I've built on from those jobs, and that project has gotten me 2 jobs, and it's not complex. After that, I would say, as far as resume stuff, if you're gonna put algorithms on your resume, you need to be able to speak to it. You can't just put an algorithm down just because like you learned it, or you saw XGBoost on Kaggle and you used it, but like you didn't mess around with it and you had no idea what the hyperparameters were and things like that. Like, just speak to the algorithms that you use. And if you don't know how they work, just don't write it down. Like, save yourself. Do not shoot yourself in the foot, because it will be training day if you go down that route. And then I would say after that, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Understand where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are, and prepare for that. The simple fact that I'm saying I don't think data scientists should be held to coding under time, computer science algorithms, or the rigor of them doesn't mean that you shouldn't be studying or anything like that. There are algorithms you should know. You should understand how random forest works. You should understand how like linear regression works and other algorithms that we use and why you would use them and where they fall short. 4th item, honestly, don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. I think data science is still in its infancy of being integrated into jobs and businesses that kind of didn't want to have to adopt it, honestly, but now that we've kind of shown results, I don't think data science interviews are fleshed out the way computer science interviews are fleshed out, or like front-end interviews are fleshed out, or back-end interviews are fleshed out. Like, we are kind of utility knives. And if it's a business that's medium size or large size, you could have to do multiple things that just aren't within your curriculum of doing data science. So that gets into my last piece of advice. It's take initiative. And what I mean by that is, don't just let yourself get stuck in the curriculum that you may be in or may have been in when you started learning data science, don't let your curriculum tell you when you should learn something. Don't let that be it. You have a phone, you have like so many resources on the internet. I would tell you that if you're starting to get into certain algorithms or unsupervised learning and things like that, and you're still in a course, I would challenge you to start looking into just looking up topics that are within like unsupervised learning or other items like that, and just understanding the terms that are used or understanding the methods that are used, and maybe you'll find a project from that. You need to show that initiative, and if you did start on that project, like I said, you'll learn a bunch of stuff because you will run into a number of questions, bugs, forks in the road where you have to decide on something and why you did it. If you can just speak to why you did it, I think that'd be a great thing. So more to come from Value by Era. Just wanted to talk through a little bit about my interview process, facilitating one, going through some. I think they still have some time to get fleshed out and kind of find our own lane of how data science interviews will be. But in the meantime, keep learning.